Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can see my screen. I'm going to go through a brief present. My name is Miguel Escal, and I'm the Residency Program Director at Mount Sinai. We have a few of our residents here. I've seen so far Michelle, Jasmine, Lauren, and Mike. So they'll be looking at the chat and picking out questions as I talk. I'm going to try and go through this relatively quickly so that there's plenty of time for questions. But we're happy to share this presentation if anyone needs. So this is our mission statement. I'm not going to read it to you. We're updating our website, but what we're trying to do is create good people and good doctors. So if you come to Mount Sinai, we want you to be diverse, well-rounded, hardworking, and always think of your patients first. Now, obviously, we want you to be the best physiatrist you can be, because in the end, it's about the patients. So if we don't train you right, then we're doing wrong by the patients. The program is 26 residents. We have a categorical track, which means at any given year, 5 residents can start as a PGY1, and then we have 7 residents that are advanced each year. That's a total of 26. We have block time for didactic lectures. We have funding for conferences. We have a cadaver anatomy dissection course every year. That's an MSK-based course with ultrasound and injections. And we offer free access to textbooks and PM&R resources and membership to the main societies, which are AAPMR and AAP. Just again, the categorical track, I won't spend too much time on reading this slide, but just to know, it's a different application. So if you want to come to Mount Sinai, there are actually 2 different ACGME IDs you have to rank, one being categorical and one being advanced. To give a little bit of a sample of what rotations you might have during PGY 1 year and beyond, here's a little screenshot. And these are things that we can also share online via Twitter or Instagram or otherwise. Each individual number is actually a month. So when you see sports interventional, that's 4 to 5 months. Elective would be 3 months. And you see that even in your intern year, there's time for elective. And with the intern year, we can get a little more creative. To give an example, and I don't even think the chiefs know this, but I've been reaching out to the governing body of the Neurocritical Care Fellowship to gain accreditation so I've been able to convince them to allow our residents, if they do a certain amount of ICU time, to do the fellowship. But now I'm working on allowing them to sit for boards. So having the intern year not only kind of sets people up nicely to know the system when they start as a PGY2 and know all your consultants, but it's given us a bit more freedom to start earlier with research. And if you have a particular flavor or interest, to kind of hit the ground running with that. This is our department leadership. I'm not going to kind of read off everyone, but there's a lot of us at different sites. And top left is an important person to know. That's Dr. Joe Herrera. He's the system chair. And then you can see interspersed different folks here. Again, I'm going quickly in the interest of time to give you all the most time for questions that I can. But if you have questions about any particular person or any leadership position, please let us know in the chat. Mount Sinai has a strong history of creating leaders. So everyone you see here trained in some form or fashion at Mount Sinai. So top left is Dr. Ross Safant, so he's the chair at Harvard. Then Steve Flanagan, chair at NYU. Mark Ross, chair at Kingsbrook. Adam Stein, chair at Northwell. Steve Kirschblum, chair at Kessler. Then we have Danny Perret, who, if she wants, will be chair at somewhere soon. She's actually at UC Irvine right now, and she's the Pain Fellowship Director. Then Dave Thomas, who is the vice chair, the system vice chair at Mount Sinai for internal medicine, but he's dual boarded in PM&R and internal medicine. And then Kristen Dams O'Connor, who's one of the researchers in our department, but in the nation, she is the #2 ranked NIH funded researcher in the country for PM&R. Here's a screenshot, what you all want to know, where our residents go for fellowship. And so, again, we can tweet this out or share it with everyone, but this is in the last 7 years where people have gone. You see an asterisk, that means more than one of our residents have done that fellowship. And if you want more detail about, say, where people went last year or 2 years ago, we're happy to share that. But you see our residents go all over the country and they do all kinds of different things in terms of where they match or what kind of fellowships that they are awarded. Lastly, I just want to talk about some of our views as a program. So there are two things that I think are central to the department. One is a feeling of wanting to give back, and the other is a feeling of pushing the envelope in innovation. So this is an article that came out in CNET about our esports team. So we have an esports team made of people with tetraplegia, and they're training to go to, this is a quote in their words, the quote unquote real Olympics, which esports will be an Olympic sport. I can't remember if it's 2022. So they're training, and we are sponsored by Logitech and actually Mark Cuban and Nike and different things. We don't make any money as a department off that. All the money goes to them to train and get them set up and everything that they need. And then also, I'm going to show this little video to kind of end my talk. And not this year well, I'm not sure if it'll happen next year because this is in the spring, but earlier this year and last year, we've been doing the only exoskeleton assisted heat or race in New York. This is the Fifth Avenue Mile, which is actually a qualifying race for the marathon. And so they give us one lane for people in exoskeletons. So this is just a little video about that. And then we will open up for questions. Can you hear it?
Number one exoskeleton. Exoskeleton athletes making his way down the roadway right now. Bionic indeed, and athlete indeed.
All right, so that's the presentation. I think we can open up for questions.
Hi, so Spencer has a question about how residents incorporate research opportunities into the training.
Yeah, so for any residency, some kind of research or scholarly activity is required. We have strong research programs in spinal cord injury and brain injury, sports, and so all of those are available to residents. We are number 3 in the country in NIH funding for PM&R in research. And so there's a lot going on. I know that's a little bit of a superficial answer to your question, and if you have follow-ups, feel free, but just in the interest of time, I'm giving you short answers. So mentorship, well, every resident, when you come in as a PGY2, is assigned an attending mentor, and then you get a PGY4 mentor, and those mentors are kind of life, big sister, big brother, uncle, aunt kind of mentors. As we find out what you want to match to or do for the rest of your life, then we'll kind of assign you another mentor, which is more of a professional mentor. So we feel you need both. One, to kind of help you navigate the transition to residency and how to deal with whatever attendings and what notes to write, and another to kind of, when you're ready, to buckle down and be that coach that will run you till you puke, so you get whatever fellowship you want. Let's see. Resident wellness. Well, maybe, does one of the residents want to take that question?
All right, so I'm kind of, hi guys, my name is Michelle. I'm one of the chief residents. Nice to meet you all. I'm going to kind of answer a couple of these questions because they're all kind of related. So one was about wellness, one was about where do we live and what is it like to live in New York City. So for wellness, we get together a lot actually. We have picnics in the park, we go to happy hours for food, for drinks. We go to activities on the weekends. We do, well, when COVID wasn't here, we would go out to different group things. And then where we tend to live, a lot of us live on the Upper East Side by Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai does offer housing, so if you get a good spot in the lottery, you can actually get some really good housing there. If not, there's a ton of different places, and some people also live in Brooklyn. I know, Lauren, you live in Brooklyn, right? I don't think, I can't hear her, but yeah, people definitely don't always live on the Upper East Side, but that's the closest to the main Mount Sinai campus. And then what's it like to live in New York City? It's honestly amazing. There's so much that you can do here, so much good food, so much activities. Everything is kind of condensed in one area, so it's never hard to get to anything that you want to do.
And the PD in me has to say, we have like a resident wellness champion. We have an attending resident wellness champion that is not me. And so they kind of plan their own curriculum and different things. We've had all kinds of different people come in to be part of that curriculum. And in terms of COVID, the hospital, at least in New York, knock on wood, there's not a lot of new infections. So like the inpatient unit, rehab unit and stuff are all pretty much back to normal in a lot of ways, except we're all wearing masks. And, we're doing procedures again, we're seeing all the outpatients again. So I think that things are kind of heading back to normal. I see a question about cancer rehab. We don't have a set cancer rehab rotation where it's dedicated. The residents will probably tell you we see a lot of neuro-oncology on the inpatient units, but we have 3 to 4 months of built-in elective. So when we do have residents that are interested in getting more cancer rehab, it's easy for them to get those electives, be it at Memorial Sloan, which is local, or we have connections in Houston and LA and some other places. So that I should say, right now there's limitation in travel, but the electives don't have to be done within Mount Sinai. They can be done throughout the nation or the world. If you wanted to go volunteer after, say, like a natural disaster, you could do that. So I think there's a question about working with athletes. So there are a lot of athletes in New York. The department, the residents, we have a sports fellowship, which is 4 accredited fellows, which as far as I know is still the largest PM&R accredited sports fellowship in the nation. And so they do lots of coverage, high school, junior college, all the marathons, US Open, which Mount Sinai sponsors. And also the department works closely with the Brooklyn Nets. And that's mostly through our physical therapist, but also through our Director of Innovation and Research, Dave Petrino. And we have been managing their performance. And so as weird as it sounds, we kind of use technology that we co-created to see how high like they're jumping or how fast they're moving or crossing over. And we tell them as a department, you should arrest this player or this guy needs a night off, and they do it. and whether or not it's working, they feel like it is. So they've re-upped our contract. So they actually pay us to work with them, which is different. Usually, like a hospital would have to pay a team to work with them. Let's see. What are the third year elective opportunities? Dash, do you mean for during residency? So I don't know if I touched on that. If I didn't, let me know. Didactics board prep. Yes, so didactics every Tuesday morning, there's block time. That's from like 8 to noon. And so all the residents either gather together or more recently over Zoom have block time. And that happens every Tuesday. You can start answering in the chat too, Jasmine. And there's also, each rotation has their own lectures. So just to give one example, like on the Sinai spinal cord rotation, there's a journal club Monday. There's a continuity clinic Wednesday. On Friday, there are urology rounds, and then the attending will give a lecture. Oh, and then Monday also the fellow gives a lecture. So that's all in addition to the Tuesday block time. Okay, thank you, Dash. So during residency, you can do the elective wherever you like. We need to know a month in advance. So you can do anything within Mount Sinai, research or work with orthopedics or whatever you want, or go outside of Mount Sinai, assuming we're not on lockdown. And you could audition at another at a fellowship program wherever you want to go, or you could do something that you wouldn't necessarily get to do otherwise, as long as it's medical and you have someone overseeing you. Like I said, you could go in theory to another country and volunteer, but we need to make sure that you are volunteering and not just spending every day on the beach. Great.
A 3-minute warning, okay?
Okay, so any other questions?
So for peds rehab, we don't have an inpatient peds rehab here, but we do have outpatient. Oh, did you answer that already?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jasmine. I'm one of the other chiefs at Sinai. Let me know if that doesn't answer your question, Gabrielle.
So one thing I'll do is I'll put if anybody has questions, my email's in the chat, and the chiefs may venture to do the same if they're feeling adventurous. But if there are any questions that come up, please reach out. We are offering access. We don't have a virtual rotation or anything right now, but we're offering virtual access to our lectures on Tuesdays. So if anyone wants to join every week or on occasion, you can reach out to myself or the chiefs and we'll sign up.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, so I'm Lauren. I'm one of the PGY2s. Just wanted to introduce myself. And I can also send my email in here since I've recently joined the program, if you guys have any other questions about matching or whatnot. But yeah, I'm more than happy to help.
You guys still have like another 2 minutes if you want to answer any last questions that you see. There's a lot of thank yous coming up now.
Yeah.
They're maybe burying all the questions.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is, and it's easy to find on a map, but we're on the Upper East Side. So in New York City, there's a map here behind me, is kind of north, you can't see it. But we're right across from Central Park. So you go outside the hospital door, Central Park is there, which is nice. I'll take walking meetings and when it's nice out. And the campus is spread over 4 or 5 blocks there. And there's a couple other sites where residents rotate. And there are shuttles. Pretty much everywhere where the residents rotate, there are shuttles you can take. You'll get about a year's worth, 12, 13 blocks worth of absolutely call-free time. And as you become more senior, you take less call. So I think some of those things are pretty standard as you see around. Can PGY2s discuss advantages, disadvantages? I'll let them try, but this is the first year we've had the categorical program, so they may not be able to answer so well. And I think, unless something's changed in the last month or two, we're still the only program in all of New York State to have a categorical track. So in New York, it's not a very common thing. But I can say some of the—
As a PGY2, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as a PGY2, I did my transitional year in Florida, and the fact that the program has become categorical, I was, you know, on the other side of things, and I would say it's very convenient to be in the same state, in the same city where you'll be doing the rest of your training. For me, it was a transition from, you know, starting interning in one hospital and transitioning to another. So I think it's a big plus to do all 4 years, not only in the same city, but also in the same hospital system.
So that kind of brings us to the end of the 20 minutes. I just want to say that thank you so much, Dr. Escalon, other Sinai residents. It looks like you guys